One sentence killed 30,000 people in minutes. That sentence wasn't a threat. It was a single phrase that flipped the mob's loyalty in seconds. This event contrasts the brute force of the legions with a far more surgical psychological kill switch embedded in imperial ceremony. The core anomaly is a cognitive glitch exploited by rulers from Augustus all the way to the Aztecs, requiring zero technology. This ancient mechanism operates purely through human biology and the manipulation of deep-seated expectations. Rulers understood that true power lies not in physical might, but in engineering the perception of reality for their subjects. The imperial ceremony served as a psychological anchor, subtly redirecting collective will toward the desired outcome. This surgical precision allowed emperors to bypass critical thought and implant obedience directly into the collective consciousness. The psychological manipulation was not based on fear alone, but on creating a state of manufactured uncertainty before delivering a single, authoritative resolution. This deliberate manufacture of uncertainty is the fundamental mechanism that governs human obedience across all historical epochs. Consider the power of this same mechanism when you pull to refresh a digital feed or obey a fleeting limited-time banner. The trigger fires instantly, demonstrating that the ancient control mechanism is still actively engaged in our modern lives today. This link reveals that the invisible crown is not an artifact of history, but a persistent, functional psychological operating system. We begin by deconstructing the Roman Adventus ceremony, a ritual designed to hack the brain's agency detection module. This staged arrival manufactured the divine presence of the emperor. The staged arrival served to override natural skepticism, making the populace accept a manufactured divine reality instantly. This ritual was a psychological masterstroke of ancient governance. Next, we examine the Persian King's Eye network, which functioned not as simple espionage but as a curated information diet for the emperor. This system created an artificial consensus reality around the ruler. This network demonstrated how information control creates a shared illusion, binding observers into a consensus that benefits the central authority. It was reality engineered for stability. Turning to the Aztec civilization, the new fire ceremony acted as a massive system reset for the entire populace. It leveraged profound terror relief to bind millions to a single cosmological narrative. The ceremony exploited primal fear, offering a collective release that was immediately tethered to the imposed religious structure. This psychological mechanism ensured absolute societal compliance. All these ancient methods reveal a universal variable: the deliberate manufacture of uncertainty followed by a single, authoritative resolution. This is the core of the certainty trap. We upload videos like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Television. The psychological principle is identical across millennia, exploiting the human need to resolve ambiguity quickly. Uncertainty is a potent tool for establishing irreversible obedience. The structure of the ancient experiment shows that power is less about force and more about controlling the perception of reality. This is the foundation of dark psychology. Imagine the brain as a highly susceptible system, primed to seek closure at any cost. Ambiguity creates a metabolic stress that demands an immediate, simple answer from the mind. This drive for closure is why rituals are so effective. They provide a simple, authoritative answer to complex, chaotic circumstances. They bypass deep critical analysis effortlessly. The ancient rulers understood that the path of least resistance is the most compliant path. They engineered environments where the desired outcome was the only logical, undeniable conclusion. This concept of controlled resolution directly mirrors the modern digital experience, where endless scrolling forces the brain into a perpetual state of manufactured uncertainty. This is the modern certainty trap. The variable ratio schedule, found in Infinite Scroll, is the mechanism that fuels this modern trap. Dopamine replaces tangible rewards, driving the compulsive need for the next piece of content. Outrage and fleeting validation become the new temples, replacing physical structures. This manufactured consensus ensures that the herd remains unified and resistant to questioning the source of authority. The psychological architecture of empire is revealed through these layers of manipulation. The goal is not just obedience, but the complete outsourcing of critical thought to external, curated stimuli. We begin by visualizing the deep structures of the mind, where the anterior cingulate cortex ignites under the pressure of prediction error. This is the precise moment when reality violently contradicts expectation, triggering an immediate neural panic response. The brain constantly seeks to resolve this dissonance, driven by an inescapable metabolic need for cognitive closure. This drive forces the mind to accept any immediate, authoritative answer rather than engaging in complex, uncertain analysis. This drive dictates that the mind prefers a simple, definitive narrative over the messy complexity of true understanding. Therefore, authority, no matter how shallow, often wins the internal battle for peace and immediate mental resolution. We explore the illusion of explanatory depth, which is the deceptive comfort we find in familiarity rather than genuine comprehension. Rituals are expertly crafted to exploit this deep-seated desire for simple, easily digestible knowledge. How do these ancient rituals effectively bypass critical analysis? They manipulate the brain's immediate reward system, substituting deep thought with a swift, satisfying sense of belonging and immediate acceptance of the established order. The concept of agency is subtly hijacked through the powerful mechanism of mirror neurons in the brain. These neurons allow us to simulate the intentions of others, making external commands feel intrinsically like our own deep-seated desires. Mirror neurons act as internal mirrors, reflecting the ruler's command back into the subject's core self. This process effectively hijacks the decision-making center, making obedience feel like an authentic expression of personal will. The ancient emperors mastered this psychological leverage without any technological intervention. They understood that the most effective control lies not in force, but in engineering the very fabric of perceived reality for their subjects. The ancient world operated on this fundamental principle of manufactured certainty. They created systems where the perceived reality was not what it was, but what the rulers designed it to be for the benefit of the collective. The cognitive closure drive is the brain's desperate attempt to silence internal noise by settling into a single, simple conclusion. This pursuit makes us vulnerable to accepting simplistic narratives over the difficult truth of ambiguity. When faced with profound uncertainty, the mind defaults to the path of least resistance, seeking immediate closure rather than engaging in the arduous process of true intellectual exploration. This shortcut is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. The illusion of explanatory depth is sustained through carefully managed information flow. Familiar concepts are presented as profound truths, allowing subjects to accept complex systems without ever truly dissecting the underlying mechanics. Rituals are the perfect delivery system for this illusion, wrapping complex psychological manipulation in the comforting blanket of sacred tradition. This allows the mind to accept the command as divine decree, completely bypassing the need for rational scrutiny. The ultimate deception is the seamless integration of these mechanisms into the human experience. We are not merely subjects of history, but living conduits for these dark psychological triggers that shape our daily choices. The endless scroll is a digital coliseum where fleeting dopamine replaces real sustenance and genuine human connection. This system engineers craving by delivering unpredictable rewards, trapping the user in a cycle of manufactured addiction and endless searching. Outrage is the fuel for this mechanism, replacing ancient circuses with manufactured discord to keep the attention economy perpetually engaged. The algorithm exploits this inherent biological drive, turning human attention into a commodity that feeds the machine's insatiable hunger. This is the modern iteration of the ancient certainty trap, where manufactured uncertainty is used to force immediate, unthinking compliance from the masses. The illusion of choice is meticulously crafted, ensuring that the desired outcome feels like a sudden, necessary resolution to an overwhelming state of anxiety. Consider the spectacle of scarcity theater, where flash sales and artificial waitlists repackage ancient rituals into a modern engine for quarterly revenue. These temporary pressures burn with the intensity of the Aztec New Fire ceremony, replacing spiritual devotion with the relentless fear of missing out. The modern king's eye operates similarly, curating trending topics to create a consensus reality, effectively manufacturing herd immunity against any form of dissent. This manufactured consensus bypasses critical thought, making the acceptance of the established narrative feel like a natural, inevitable conclusion to the chaos. The ultimate consequence of this manipulation is the erosion of metacognition, the ability to pause and question the source of our immediate emotional responses. Recognizing this cognitive glitch is the first act of rebellion, reclaiming the power to insert a crucial pause between stimulus and the reflexive response. Metacognition becomes the essential tool for breaking free from the algorithmic empire, turning passive consumption into active, conscious resistance. What is the dark truth behind this event? Share your theory below and watch our next investigation. Welcome! Before we begin, hit subscribe so you don't miss our daily updates. Bell next episode. A plot twist you won't expect. Subscribe now. Face screaming in fear.